business owner.
What is that? I don't understand what that
makes
is.
you
Yeah,
1099.
I think it's technically self-employed because
No,
you're not
that's
W-2, you're getting a 1099.
no, that's not what I think about. When you think about an entrepreneur, I'm thinking about you have a service or a product that you have developed and cultivated and that you want to better the world and offer this product or service to everyone that's unique to you. I didn't think that Uber and Instacart would be an entrepreneurship job. I just don't, in my mind, I don't think about it. So if it's about mindset, in my mindset, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and do Instacart.
I think that some people are using that. I don't know if this gentleman's situation, but maybe he's driving the Instacart and the Uber to free up his time, or so he thought he was going to free up his time to build a business. Because I know people who have tried to do that.
I think this was his business.
Oh, well, I don't know.
He said, "Be an entrepreneur," they say, and I only made $40. So let's just put it out there right now. There is a difference between a side hustle and a business. And Uber and Instacart and DoorDash and Uber Eats, they are not businesses. Right. They are side hustles. They are gigs that you can pick up, that you can earn extra money. You will likely never, ever, 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 ever be rich or wealthy or financially free on Uber, Instacart, or any of those gig things. You're not. So let's just put it out there right now. So let's kind of differentiate the difference between a side hustle and entrepreneurship. And so just like you said, Dr. Alicia, entrepreneurship is a product or a service. So now, can somebody use that as leverage to get into that? Like what will be the best reason why somebody would do a gig service like that? And there are many people, and it's not to knock nobody's hustle, but
yeah, I think that some people use it as a bridge, right? They need income, and they hate their job, or they want to get out of their job, and they know they have this business, this real business that they may want to start, and they may be using that as a bridge to go from, okay, I need to quit my job so I can free up time. I can do this in the interim and still make money on my schedule, and then use the rest of the other hours that I'm free to build my business. I do think that some people use it for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I want to get your opinion after the break, Dr. Alicia, because is it really realistic for people to be doing that and thinking that it's going to pay them a full? And I don't know, because I haven't looked at the statistics on that. But is that a realistic ideal that somebody would have that type of job and thinking that they can do that full time, or is that kind of a in the meantime, in between time type of situation? We'll talk about it when we come back from the break. And for you guys out there listening, anybody do any of these side gigs? And what has been your experience?
If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
Oh, no, and grow. She didn't do that last part. So listen, Dr. Alicia, the question I had was what do you think?
I think you have to explore and read something before you dive into something, and then it's that surprising. So I mean, if I wanted to do Uber, Instacart, and DoorDash, I would talk to people who are actually doing that, and then ask them what it's like, and then make the decision if that's something I want to do. So if you enjoy being in your car and servicing others and working for tips, because I think you could, I always leave my Uber person tips. So maybe you want to work for tips. If that's the type of atmosphere you think fits your lifestyle, ask other people and validate and make sure that really works for you. Now, I don't know if there's like a tax write-off for Ubering, and if you
there are. I mean, it's a 1099 self-employment, so they get the self-employment taxes.
Okay, so maybe there's an upside to it, but you have to be knowledgeable on that.
You got to make money, and you got to think about the wear and tear on your car, the gas, and all that stuff. And is it really worth the time, the pressure? Uber drivers are getting killed. Lyft drivers are getting killed. So the stress of it all. You going up to people's houses. Remember the guy who, I think what he had DoorDash, he went to the wrong house and the guy shot at him. And there's so many things that happen. And I think what people really need, I know in this culture, just like you said, Shalay, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. That's kind of like the thing. It's the buzzword. It's the new sexy. And I get it. And so my heart goes out to people, because I know a lot of people want to do something and they just don't know what to do. And they're thinking, okay, maybe this is what I do. This is me being my own boss, because that's how it's presented. You're your own boss. But in reality, you're not really making any money. Do you think there are pressures that society puts on people around, kind of being an entrepreneur, or they make it seem like it's easier than what it is? Shalay, that's for you.
Okay. Oh yeah, I absolutely do think, and we live in the age of social media. So, and everything that's put out on Instagram is like the highlight reel of what's really going on. Like, it's not necessarily the truth all the time. So again, like I said, like everyone's getting bit by this entrepreneurship bug and not really doing the research, like Dr. Alicia said, into what they're getting into. And then also it's like it's cool as a side. Like I said, I know people who have used it as a stepping stone. I get that. Like, I need something. I want to quit my 9-to-5. I don't want to be here anymore. And I need something in the interim, and I'm building this other thing. I can understand that. But I don't know, and maybe I need to ask a couple of the people I know. I don't know anyone who's like, yeah, this is it. Instacart, like this is the business. Like, I don't know anyone who's thinking like that. So I'm not sure if this young man was thinking like that, but that ain't it. Like, that's definitely not a business, but it can be used as an interim stepping stone.
And I know people who do it, they do multiple. So they're not just doing Instacart, they're doing Instacart and Uber and DoorDash, and they're doing all the things.
But they're working like 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
I have a friend, he's in real estate, and, it wasn't going well, and, it's cyclical and stuff like that. And that's what he does right now. And so we're in Boston. And this is the thing I want to say too. It depends on what industry, it depends on your market. Like, I'm in Boston and people always need to ride. So maybe you make more in Boston doing Uber and stuff like that. I mean, he said he was making like a couple $1,000s a week doing that. And, when he's not having closings, he's doing that. So I think it depends on the industry and the market, and also, but people need to realize industries changed. When Uber first came out and the market wasn't saturated with so many drivers, I think those drivers were making a lot of money.
That was black car service.
What'd you say?
It used to be black car service.
You can do black car service, but like
when it first came out,
it's more saturated with people in the market, then that pool of people who need rides and things like that is cut down for each driver. So I don't think that people are making the money they were making before. Same thing with like Airbnb. I did Airbnb for several years and it was very lucrative for me. Would I do it right now? Not necessarily, unless I was like specifically going into a market, getting a short-term, a property that was going to be like an amazing short-term rental. But the way that I was doing it before, I wouldn't make the same amount of money now. So again, these industries, you have to know the cycle and you have to know what you're getting into.
You got to know when to hold them, know when to
Know when to
fold
fold
them,
them.
know when to walk away, and know when to run. Deborah Will Win said, I met an Uber driver that works 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and he makes 120K. He actually showed me his Uber account. And I think that also depends on your market, just like you said, because like my grandmother lives in Liberal, Kansas. Ain't nobody order no Uber in Liberal, Kansas. And perhaps that's where that gentleman was. Maybe he was in Liberal, Kansas.
Right.
And that's why he made $40. I don't know. But let's look at this next video, you guys. I want to talk about more about these side hustles.
Bro, I've been trying DoorDash for the past couple days. I ain't gonna lie, that's some slave shit. Like, if you dash, you got a different kind of heart. Like, you got a different kind of grind because, like, it's just some slave shit. Like, if you get on the app and you really see how the app work, like, I remember one time I'm dashing and I guess you gotta go to a hot zone. Once you get to the hot zone, mind you gotta drive all the way to the hot zone. Once you get to the hot zone, if it ain't hot no more, you gotta drive to a whole nother area. So you just go in there in hopes that you get in the order. Like, it's just some slave shit. I don't like it.
What do you think to Dr. Alicia?
I'm trying to unmute. Okay, I got a lot to say. Number one, I think it's so smart. If I was a realtor, I would definitely do Uber and Instacart because everybody that gets into my card, I'd be throwing my little card out there. You got to be able to merge the two and be smart at what you're doing. Entrepreneurs are really intelligent and smart, and they always thinking about, ooh, how can I get money on this and that? I mean, you have an entrance into the lives of strangers. Every single person would be getting my real estate business card. You never know. That's the first thing I would say. So maybe your friend is really smart. Second thing I would say is some people are pushed into entrepreneurships.
True.
Because they can't keep a job. Why is that? You can't be a boss. You can't have a boss because you don't want nobody telling you what to do, and you probably got
ain't nobody finna be bossing me.
Transference, and nobody want to work with you because you're difficult. You're not reliable, and you just like screw the whole thing. And then you're not able to look at yourself to find out why you can't keep a job. If you cannot establish and maintain employment, what makes you think that you're going to be really good at entrepreneurship? So maybe you need some people skills. If I have time to share, I want to share about Elon Musk. Do y'all know about how Elon Musk started his business? He was outside of Silicon Valley or somewhere trying to network or whatever. And he was unable to make friends. He was unable to network.
The weirdo.
Because he doesn't have the social skills. And so he said, screw it. I'll just start my own business or buy out another business that's already there. But he never followed back and said, maybe I should work on my interpersonal skills. Maybe I need to look at myself and try to evolve and grow so that I can be. Now, people measure success differently. Some people would look at Elon Musk and admire him and consider him successful. I don't. I think a man with kids all over the place who can't maintain and establish and maintain healthy relationship with a partner, maybe that's the kind of person that may be a little too run amok personally in terms of what would be successful. However, he never went back and figured out what he needed to learn about himself. So yes, it's nice to be an entrepreneur, but I think a lot of people with criminal backgrounds and all sorts of things that kind of like you're not able to get into the job market as an employee. It pushes you into entrepreneurship. It's a double-edged sword. I'm just saying, but that's the reality.
Yeah, that's a great reality. So Shalay, how does like this whole grind culture though? How does it affect, especially young Black people, where we're taught to grind, we taught to hustle, we taught to get it on our own, we taught to get it out the mud? Like, how does that affect us and the reason why we do these things?
I feel like it causes us to constantly be in a state of on to the next, on to the next, on to the next, where we're not able to really build anything substantial. And a lot of times that's done out of survival, like you just said. I've been there. It's done out of survival because you got to do what you got to do in the moment. And sometimes it happens out of you not really knowing what you're good at. You haven't uncovered your purpose. You haven't uncovered all of those things. So you're trying different things. That's also a thing too. Like people, okay, I'm going to try this. Okay, that's not really me. I got to try this. That's not really me. You know, some people wanted to be entrepreneurs since they were younger, and some people just are older now and they're just like, I still don't know what it is that I'm supposed to do. So I just feel like sometimes it's circumstantial and logistical why you're thrown into that entrepreneurship space.
Understood. Yeah, that's true. You know, according to report on Bankrate, 45% of Americans actually have side hustles. So that's really telling in what's going on with the economy, with inflation, all of those things. That's telling. If 45% of Americans have to have some type of side hustle, that means something. Our ability to live within what we make in our corporate jobs is lacking in some way. So they're on average, they're working 15 to 20 hours per week outside their full-time jobs. 30% of side hustlers make only $500 a month, which shows that side hustles are popular, but they don't typically generate a whole lot of income. And there's a huge financial strain on gig work. You got to think about this. 40% of Americans said they can't even afford a $400 emergency fund. This shows the financial fragility of many people that's in this country. Everybody's trying to do something. Everybody's trying to like pick themselves up and pull themselves up out of this rut. But then it's like you get into this ever evolving conundrum of just existing by trying to do better, because now I got this gig, but now I gotta pay for my car, and now I'm putting all these miles on my car, and then this wear and tear on my body, and maybe even the stress because now I got to deal with people, and people are dangerous, and look at what's going on. I mean, there's so many things, there's so many factors that contribute to what's going on in America, and it's a sad time in America. But as entrepreneurs, ladies, you guys are both entrepreneurs. There are ebbs and flows. There are feasts and famines. There are ups and downs. And many people want to get into entrepreneurship, and we always make it, we make it look easy. We make the shit look easy. They don't know about the sleepless nights. They don't know about the worries and the hardships. They see the glamour. They see all the things that we have as a result of it. But what are some ups and downs that you've had, both of you? And we'll start with you, Dr. Alicia. What are some ups and downs that you've had as an entrepreneur?
I have a lot of ups and downs. I have been in the red a lot of times. However, I do have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And it has good health insurance. I have excellent investments. I have the 401k, and my university matches like 7, maybe 8, maybe 9, 10% at this point. Hello. And all those great things. TIAA is doing great for me. So I have that. And so it just like, it lifts the pressure off. And maybe I would be better if I could just go hard and just like let it all out in my entrepreneurship job. So I have fun every single day, and I don't have the pressure of I got to do or die. My back's not against the wall. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe I need to have that, but I still work really hard. So the thing is that I think it's important to always make it look easy, no matter what's going in. Don't sweat. Don't sweat. Just I have this fatalistic approach to entrepreneurship. I honestly believe that everything is working out the way it should. And guess what? As long as I keep that belief going on, it's actually happening for me. And things are happening. I'll be like, oh, I forgot all about that. Look at that. And things come in, multiple sources of income, all of that. And then getting into marketing. Let's just talk about it. You have to be a gold star marketer in order to really get entrepreneurship. Like, when I was working on my master's degree in social work, becoming a therapist, they teach us everything about how to be a therapist. Not one course is on the business side of therapy. And so all of that I had to learn on my own. And that was tough. That was a tough, hard lesson to learn, and to get special accountants and all of those, the nuts and bolts that I was zero information, totally clueless about. That was a little frightening, but now every day I'm learning something new. That's exciting. The way my brain works, I like to do new things and take on new things. That's my personality. And so having a full-time job makes me sleep well at night, but the entrepreneurship, it satisfies my need for adventure and just doing things that I love to do. So I don't know. I'm in a good
the best of both worlds, y'all. She got the best of both worlds. I want to ask you that same question, Nichole, after we come back from the break.
Okay.
I know you're busy. You got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money, and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
Woo! So Miss Nichole,
Yes.
for you, how long have you been in business?
My brokerage I've had for 9 years, but I've been doing real estate for 21 years.
Okay, so tell me about your ebbs and flows, if you've had any.
Oh, girl. Y'all, like for real, like balancing the dreams of being a boss with making ends meet, especially when you first start out, it is hard. I think it has to do, like, you have to have a certain risk tolerance. You really, really do. For me, I was just like, when I was ready to, I always knew I wanted to have my own brokerage. And when I was ready to do it, it was just like, okay, I'm just going to dive. I'm just going to jump off this cliff and we're just going to grow the wings as we go down. It wasn't much like, oh, let me do this and do that. It was, okay, I got all my licenses and, I'm going to talk to my family and friends. And I just knew that I was going to do it. I don't know where the knowing came from. I just knew that I was going to do it. And I was just like, I'm just going to dive in. Ups and downs. Yeah, all the time still. You can have 10 closings this month and no other closings for 3 months because you're working on those other clients that are in your pipeline. So it has been super important for me because I have this anxiety about my bills not getting paid. Okay. I'm sure millions of y'all agree. Right. And so it's been super important for me to come up with, and I didn't get there all at once, but I now have a way where every time I get a check, I put so much away for taxes. I put so much away in my savings. I put so much in my operating account. I put so much in my household account. So I divvy up the money so that I know that if I don't have a closing for the next 60 days, I'm going to be good and everything's going to be covered. But that is something that I had to develop. When I started, it was like, woohoo, you got a check, right? And then you see all your money go out and you're like, shit. Like, I still got to pay bills and I don't have more is going out than is coming back in. And there have been a lot of ups and downs, but I thank God my mortgage has always been paid. I've always made it work. But in the beginning, did I have some days where I didn't have heat? Yep.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, listen, and we do make it look good. Somebody said they want us to look like we living in good times. That's what they want. And it's true. Entrepreneurship, that's what society wants from Black people, to be singing in the good time song. We ain't, because we do make everything look good. But I tell you what, entrepreneurship is not for the faint at heart. And it is feast or famine. It is like good and bad. You have to prepare. And most people don't really understand that preparation is key, because you'll get, especially in real estate, you'll get these big fat checks. Say you get a $10,000 check today. That's a 10. And that's like also like in entertainment too. Somebody said, I saw an interview the other day. They said, I think it was Cheryl Underwood. She was on Jennifer Hudson. She said, we get money. We don't necessarily make more money over the period of time. We just get more money quickly. And it's just like in real estate, we get big chunks quickly, but it could be few and far between.
Yeah.
And if you have those types of,
and also people like, oh, you get a big fat check for real estate commission, right? No, 30% of that goes to Uncle Sam. You spent money to make that money. So you got to pay, if you use credit cards or whatever to do your marketing, you got to pay that stuff off. It's not all, if you get a $10,000 check, it's not like, you better not treat it like that's all your money. Yeah. Because you're going to be in trouble at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for me, I was making over $200,000. I was 33, making over almost $250,000 a year. And that's when I filed bankruptcy. I had more month than money. I had a 379 credit score. So the more money, that's another thing, is that you have to know how to be financially astute. The more money I made, the more money I spent. So I needed a bigger house. I needed a bigger car. I needed to go on vacations. I needed to do all these things. And then I had more money going out than I had coming in, and ended up filing bankruptcy and back to square one. I was still making the money, but thankfully I was able to restructure, restart, get refreshed, and then recalibrate myself so that I could start back. And then I had the lessons behind me. I had the lessons up under me that, listen, you can't spend everything that you make. You have to put some money aside, because when famine comes, and it will, when slow months come, and it will, you got to be able to pull out of that pot that you had, and don't spend everything. But you just think, like a lot of people, especially people who didn't come from money or don't have a lot of money, they think, oh, it's going to keep coming. This is what happens to a lot of entertainers and rappers too. They get a big chunk and they spend a big chunk because they think it's always going to come. And it's always going to come. And that's what you have to realize as entrepreneurs. Once you guys get into this business, I pray that you're successful. I pray that you guys make a lot of money, but I also pray that you're financially astute and aware to know how to put the money away, to how to divvy it out, because you never know what can happen, and how to really invest to make your money work for you.
How did you?
I filed bankruptcy in 2009. 2010, I opened up Catalyst. So really it was a restructure. I was still making the money. But I just, now with the bankruptcy, it was great, because guess what? I ain't having all them bills. Them bills was gone. So I didn't have all that money going out that I had going out before. So now I get to still make all this money that I was making, but now all the money is not going towards all, the outgoing stuff. So now I was able to really focus my money on what I needed to focus on, and that was rebuilding. Then I opened up Catalyst the next year. And, we did really great. And we went on to become, the largest Black-owned real estate firm in California eventually. But, during those early times, still in that, I had to decide on whether I was going to pay my mortgage or pay my lease for the office. And I had to bet on the dream. It was me. It was only me. Everybody was looking at me. Kids looking at me. Husband looking at me. He's sleeping real good, snoring and everything else, while I'm up, trying to figure out how the hell we going to eat this month. Everything. So that's what entrepreneurship is. But it looks good, because at one time we was going on 10 vacations a year. We have this big, beautiful house. We have all these lavish parties. We're doing all these great things. Those are the good times. And then you have divorce. And then you lose $1 million. And then, so it's an ever evolving type, for me. But you just have to have that resilience in your blood to be able to stand through all the ebbs and flows that happen with entrepreneurship. I don't got it like Dr. Alicia, where I don't have somebody matching my 401k and have all of these investments work. You have
that part too. Yes.
Right? So
the benefits
I worked
that
hard
you
for that, by the way. I worked really hard to get tenure.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Not taking away from your hard work at all, but it's just you have to decide which devil you want. Do you want to have the one that's your boss, or do you want to be it yourself? And you just have to have that resilience and that wherewithal to be able to fight through that.
I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm sorry. I don't have the risk tolerance. Like most entrepreneurs, full-time entrepreneurs, most of them file for bankruptcy. I don't have it.
You're so smart, Alicia. You're like, look, I know for me, I would not be able to sleep at night if it was all on me like that. So I'm going to keep my 9 to 5, and I'm going to, fulfill my entrepreneurship bug. I'm gonna still do that. And you can do that too. It's not, you don't have to choose between one or the other. You just have to like set your life up to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would crumble under that kind of thing. I would just be a basket case. Y'all wouldn't see me doing anything. But the thing, I think what's good. So being a college professor, I think is unique because it is not a job, it's a position. So I am a contract employee. So it's like you're contracted. I have to teach 4 classes. I have to teach 8 classes a year. I could teach it whenever I can negotiate on how to do that. And that's what I'm responsible for, really 4 classes a year and then some other stuff. But so, all of that, I have to continue to maintain that and check my emails every day. But really your time is your time because I'm paid to write. And a lot of times my private practice, a lot of that is related so closely to my job as a professor that there's so much overlap there because my CEU accreditation, my university covers most of that. My memberships, my liability insurance, a lot of that stuff is covered. It's so related. It's not like I work in one place and then my private practice is in a whole different field. They overlap. So, I mean, there's some really good things about it. So I just feel like maybe I just do what I like every single day. And that's another thing. If I hated teaching and I hated training the next generation of therapists, what a great position to be in. So I enjoy that.
Yeah.
But if I hated it, I'd be gone.
But you're in rare air, Dr. Lisa, because only 20% of Americans actually like the jobs that they're doing. You know what I'm saying? People who work for other people who graduated from college, only 20% of them are actually working in the field that they enjoy doing. So you're actually one of the rare people who have a degree, who are working, a 9 to 5 or employed by someone else that actually likes doing it. But we'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. Okay.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
So now going back to that, 20%, because 80% of Americans hate their jobs and they are not really happy with what they're doing in life. For the people who are watching, how many of you are actually working in something that you are really satisfied? You're doing a job like Dr. Alicia where you're really satisfied doing it. That's what I want to know. And while you're putting it in the chat, let's go to the next video.
After I did DoorDash for a couple months, I thought to myself like this was a waste of time because most of the money I'm making from DoorDash is going straight to my gas. And also I'm beating up my car, putting all these miles on my car. For what? For what? It's just a little bit of money. It's a little bit extra money. Like, you're not making that much money from DoorDash. And also it do depend on where you live, because where you live can play a big part in how much money you can make in DoorDash. Where I live is pretty decent, but it's not the best. So most of the time, DoorDash isn't even worth doing, in my opinion. And whenever people ask me about DoorDash and how it is, I just tell them not to do it.
Yeah. So that's the truth. So you have to, y'all, you got to have an option. All the people except with the exception of the first guy seemed like they were pretty young. Those are kids that are my kids' age. So I tell my kids, like, my kids is going out there door dashing. What are you doing with that money? Because you ain't got no rent to pay. You ain't got this. So they take that money and then they put it into other things where they're selling. So that's what my kids do. So they're doing multiple things. So it's I'm gonna take this DoorDash money, put this little money in my gas, give me something to eat, but I'm also gonna put this into some other things. So my kids sell like beat AirPods and hoodies and stuff like that. But you know, with something like that, it has to be a multiple thing. What do you think? Just I think going back to what you were saying, Chalet, that it does depend on the market. That's what he was saying. What do you think about what his video? Chalet.
I'm sorry.
I said, what do you think about that video?
I think it depends on where you are. But again, what are you doing with the money? That's a great question that you asked. And then what are you doing after? Because as a career, unless you just don't have any other skills at all. Like I understand, like, what if you just came to this country? You don't speak English. You don't really have the ability or the opportunity to really get into something else. And that may be what you're relegated to do, you know, for the interim. I think that people do these gig economy jobs because a lot of times it's necessary for survival. And someone had mentioned in the chat that it's necessary for society. And that's a different perspective. I didn't even think about it like that. That's true too, that these services and these people who are working these gig jobs, it helps us have convenience in our society. So, you know, I think that there is a place for it. You're not building no business off of it. Unless, like Dr. Alicia was saying, you're giving out your business cards to your other thing that you do. But sometimes it's just necessary. I know that when I was pregnant with my first daughter, I had just started my my brokerage. I didn't have any clients yet, and I was pregnant, and I was throwing up. And I did Uber for like maybe a month. Because I needed to pay some bills. I needed to keep my heat on. I needed to pay some bills. So for me, it was like an interim thing where it did bring me some money. And again, that was 9 years ago. So it was different in my market. I feel like there's a lot more drivers now. I don't think that anyone can. I was making probably $250 a day. And that was okay. That was for like 6 hours. I would go out in the morning and do it and then go lay down and everything like that and then work on my business. And then when it was the other rush hour, I would go back out and do it. So, you know, but it wasn't something that I was like, I'm going to do this and this is my business. But it was a means to an end at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Dr. Alicia, what are some financial tips that because I want to go into this next video where it talks about, you know, breaking down the finances. But what are some financial tips that you can give to like a young entrepreneur or side hustler that they can do and where they could put their money?
Financial tips: live below your means. So the thing, the idea of delaying gratification is important. So, you know, here's another thing. My relationship with money is such that I really would feel uncomfortable if I lived like paycheck to paycheck. Like I couldn't be able to function like that. Paycheck to paycheck kind of lifestyle. I would just move. I would get to a position first where I would be able to live well beneath my means and then have some money for cushion because I am risk adverse. That's my personality. So get to know your personality and your relationship with money, being high fly, you know, spender type of person. You really need to come to terms with that and try to figure out why you think having an experience or having the newest, greatest car, the best clothes, why is that more important to you than it is to show that to you than it is to spend money in that sort of way? So I think first you need to have a certain mindset where you need to live below your means and try to get to that point. So that's the first thing I would say about budget. Building in a budget is just making sure you put money aside and you just eliminate things. Say no to people. Say, no, I ain't going on that vacation because I'm doing something else that's important, and just be happy doing a staycation. I still do staycations. That's beautiful. So I think you just need to shift your mindset in that way. And then look at the bigger picture. If you delay gratification and you looking down the line years from now, it accumulates and builds up. So that's one thing I think I would focus on first, for everybody in terms of your income and trying to figure out how to budget your money. That's the first thing. And then get a good team, invest in yourself, take that money and invest in yourself. What trainings do you need to go on? Do you need to hire an assistant? Do you need to build a team? Because 24 hours in a day, you can't be doing everything. So
Yes.
you have to be able to invest in yourself, invest in services, get comfortable. If you want to be an entrepreneur, get comfortable being online.
Yeah.
And putting yourself out there outside of your comfort zone. You ain't going to get it right. It's going to be clunky at first, but just put your ego aside and be humble and just go and do it and mess up.
Yeah.
And be okay with that. Hire people. I don't know. I mean, it just really, you just have to think about your business 24/7 and be obsessed with it.
Yeah, be obsessed. That is a key. You got to be obsessed with it. You know, you have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. And the difference between the folks who are performing and who are not performing are what they do with that 24 hours. Literally, a lot of people spend time scrolling through social media.
Oh,
If you've ever read the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he talks about how to get to perfection is 10,000 hours. There's 10,000 hours that you're using every year when you scroll through social media that you could be utilizing to invest in yourself. When you could be training, you could be using Google University, YouTube, Google that shit, all that. Taking training, going to the Fly Nubian Money Club, going to the Grow Your Money Club, whatever. But I think people just like you just really triggered something, Dr. Alicia, and that, we can't stop at the side hustle. We got to, if you want true entrepreneurship, then you got to be willing to learn some things. You have to be willing to learn some things. But let's go ahead and look at this last video, and then we're going to do our final thoughts.
So the question is, can you explain 1099s? I did DoorDash and Spark Driver last year. So if you receive a 1099, it puts you in the category of being self-employed, whether you have a business or not. From the eyes of a tax preparer, you are considered self-employed. I wrote some notes so I didn't forget anything. The reason they do that is because they can't tell you what kind of car to drive. They can't tell you what kind of insurance to get. They can't tell you where to get your repairs. So basically, you make all of the decisions with how you do your DoorDash yourself, okay? You can write off the expenses that are associated with doing DoorDash, but you cannot write them off 100% because most times people use their DoorDash vehicles as well as their personal vehicles. So you have to differentiate the two, which means you have to do a great job of keeping up with your mileage. It can help you if you have a W-2. So people that generally have a 1099 income and W-2 income are in a great position because you can use one to offset the other. It affects everybody differently. Again, it's not a one size fits all. So if you have a 1099 with children versus a 1099 without children could make the difference between you needing to show income versus you needing to show a loss of income on your 1099. Your tax preparer should be able to tell you how you having one is going to affect you. Things that you can write off, though, that most people don't consider with a 1099 is your internet bill, your Wi-Fi bill. You can write off parts of your cell phone. You can write off car repairs, insurance. But again, you can't do that at 100% if you use your vehicle for personal use as well as DoorDash. Whatever you get on that 1099, remember this, that they expect you to pay self-employment taxes on there. So again, it matters if you have W-2 income and 1099 income because they affect you differently there. So if you make $1,000, they're going to want you to pay self-employment taxes on that $1,000 because you've gone all year making that money and have not paid any taxes on that money. So
that's a lot.
Good to know.
Wait, what do you think?
You asked me?
Shalay, what do you think about what she said about that, about writing off 1099 income?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's true. But I think that people just really need to discern whether or not what the difference is between being a business owner and just and being 1099. I'm not going to say just 1099. I was 1099 for years. And it is true that you can write off some expenses and things like that. But we're talking about building wealth, right? You can build wealth with 1099, but I think taking that money and putting it into something else. Like, are you taking that money? Are you saving for a down payment on a house or a multifamily property? Are you taking that money and are you investing in stocks? Are you taking that money and getting a cash value life insurance policy? Like, what's the end goal? How are you going to use that to catapult you to the next thing? And I think that's something, I know we're talking about side gigs, but everyone is not going to be cut out for side gigs, entrepreneurship, or even college. I think that we underestimate and people don't really even think about the power of a trade. I know for me, I was a bricklayer. So that's something that people should look into too, getting in the unions, getting into trades, and something that can also help stabilize your income there too. And I use that, even though it was full time, I use it as a side hustle.
So you laid bricks like physically?
Brick, block, granite, stone. Yeah.
Can I fly you to Bowie, Maryland, and you come lay some stone in my kitchen?
I don't do that no more. I hire other people to do that now.
All right, bet. All right, so being that I never want this conversation, because everybody has a path, and I never want this conversation to be any that appears to be condescending. Like, if this is where you at, this is where you at. But I think the biggest thing is for us to make sure that we have a bigger goal, because I just want to see the best for us Black folks. So I'm never going to look down on you. But I do want you, Dr. Leisha, I want to start with you, just to give us some final advice. And, how do we level up?
Let me tell you, more so than managing your money, you have to be good at managing your time. I live with a full-time, I live with and I'm married to a full-time entrepreneur. My husband is a full-time entrepreneur. He is spectacular with his time. He does not waste his time on anybody and anything. He sleeps. He's got to sleep about 12 hours a day. People think he works all the time. No, he has systems in place.
As much as that brother be online, he is not working 12 hours a day. No,
he sleeps 12 hours a day. I can guarantee you. He's impeccable with his time. And if you get him on the phone and he will talk to you, because he can talk, it's a treat, because he just doesn't waste time. So he's more interested in managing his time than he is with his money, actually, believe it or not. So I think that's important. Is like, don't be wasting your time doing anything. Trades are hard to get into, at least in my neighborhood. But I know that your high school will give you all the trades. My daughter just graduated from high school, and a lot of her friends, they already in high school, they will carve out time. You will learn everything it is to build a house. You have a cosmetology degree. My daughter graduated with her CNA license. She ain't gonna do nothing with it, but she got her CNA license. I've never seen nobody get a CNA license and then retire. She was like, I don't know if I want to even do this, but she's got it. So they get you to the point where you are employable by somebody. Everything. So, I mean, take advantage of those things. Another thing. Oh, I want to share a story. So, many, many years ago, I had, my husband and the kids, we all got drenched wet on 4th of July, and we ordered an Uber. We got in this Uber and we were drenched from head to toe, sopping wet. And it was somebody who knew Boyce from online. And Boyce, we were just like, I'm so sorry. We are sopping wet. We're going to give you a big tip because we are totally messing up Uber Black. We ordered an Uber Black, and we just totally fast forward. We got word of a driver, someone that can take us to the airport. Would you believe it's the same guy? And he told us that Uber drive with Boyce and the family inspired him to open up his own transportation business.
Oh, wow.
Money. And he ended up taking us to the airport. And it was just such a wonderful thing, because you never know who you're inspiring. And so just share your story about being an entrepreneur. One thing I'm totally obsessed with is learning about successful people who are courageous and do these things. I'm obsessed with people who are obsessed with something. So all I do all day long while I'm grading papers, and I'm listening to documentaries of wonderful people, historical people, or just everyday people who are courageous and who do really remarkable things. And it just inspires me. So be inspiring, be inspired. And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, you can contact me. There it is, coachingwithdralicia.com. And thank you, everybody. I'm going to jump off, but have a good week, everybody.
All right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Alicia. All right, Miss Nichole, let's wrap it up. Let's give them some good advice on, how they can level up.
Advice on how you can level up. I think that the first step, especially if you're determining whether or not you want to become an entrepreneur, is really dive into yourself. And it's that whole question of like, what's your purpose? That is a very loaded question, and it's very hard to answer. But I would say write that down in a notebook and start writing down answers to what you think it might be. And I feel like your gifts and your talents open doors for you. And most of the time, I think all of the time, your gifts that you're naturally gifted at and your talents, that's the direction that you should be looking at going into. Now, of course, in the interim, you got to make money and you got to survive. So I think that side hustles are a powerful tool. Like, they're a powerful tool. But I think for especially Black families and Black individuals, we've got to use it more strategically. Like, is this a means to an end? Like, are we doing this? You got to ask yourself, write this down in the notebook too. Am I doing this just to infinity? Or when's the stop date? If you want to start that business, you need to find out how much money you need to start that business. How long do you need to do this side hustle to get you to the point where you can start that business? And are you still doing it with your 9 to 5? Are you doing this on the side? So I think that just looking within and trying to uncover what it is that I really want to do. How can I really use my talents and my gifts that I naturally have to create a business around that, or go into the direction of side hustle, that industry that I actually like? Because again, not everyone is supposed to be an entrepreneur, and that is okay. Everybody doesn't have to be, a boss chick, whatever. It's not necessary. You just need to do the best that you can do for yourself and your family. And I think that is the way you level up. So if you want to find me, I'm at Nichole Camillo on Instagram. You can find me at www.vitalsourcerealty.com and Nichole Camillo on YouTube. And if you want to buy a property or sell a property anywhere in the United States, I can help you do that. Send me a DM or send me a message.
Amen. Good stuff. Thank you, Nichole. Listen, you guys. Side hustles like Uber and DoorDash and Instacart, they are all smart. They really are. They're a smart start. They help you get some quick cash. They bridge the gap. They maybe even pay off a bill or two, but they will never, ever, 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 ever make you wealthy. Because anytime you trade your time for money, your income has a ceiling. That's why you need to get to a place where you're not just working for someone, your money is working for you. That's what you want to do. You want to go from trading your time for money to making your money work for you. But what if you took that same hustle and you put it into your own self, your own idea, your own intellectual property? What if you stopped driving for somebody else's business and you started driving for your own business? So I did the Bring Your Idea to Life training last Saturday, and it was phenomenal, transformational, life changing. I have the replay if you are interested in taking it. It is only $59. It's 6 hours of nothing but good nuggets in order to get you in position so you could take that idea from ideation to manifestation to monetization. Only $59. Okay, so you could do it on demand at your own time, at your own pace, no pressure. Go ahead and go to Bring Your Idea, the number 2life.com. Go to Bring Your Idea, the number 2life.com, and you can get the replay for $59. Get off of all of that and start to take your own ideation and turn it into manifestation. That's less than one night of Ubering. That's less than a pair of sneakers. And it could be the thing that helps you break the cycle to build your legacy. So if you're serious about making money on your own terms, it's ready for you to stop all that side hustling stuff and start really building wealth. That's the thing about it. It's the mindset. So go to bring your idea, the number 2 life.com. And I am happy to help you out in getting you in a position where you can stop trading your time for money. Now, listen, Dr. Lene and Tiara, they are giving you they are taking you off the corporate plantation, y'all. They are having a discussion tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on how to get off the corporate plantation for good. This is another level up for you. Everything that you can get, especially right here, Fly Nubian Queen, Fly Nubian Money, the Black Business School, anything that you could just take, envelop, digest, and just apply, that's what you want. So get all the knowledge that you can. This is absolutely free, you guys. F to the REE. Dr. Lene, the Bring Your Brilliance, bold, brilliant strategist, and Miss Black Hollywood, Tiara Williams, they are going to get you out the corporate plantation. And then what plantation with a strategic plan and more money. So this is absolutely free. Take your time and invest it in you, getting that knowledge. But don't just be a hearer of the word, be a doer of the word. We're going to see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. We appreciate you hanging out with us today. Peace.